Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of pointless things while we're flying by Pointless Statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is the Black Rook Hold Arena loading screen. And I picked this loading screen because I think it has a lot of really cool details and features. So first thing, I love that there's the sunbeams kind of shining in from above through the cloudy, kind of overcast sky, and we have all the little fires on the torches lit all over. We obviously have the big stone owl, which looks like it's staring right at us with these like purple glowy eyes, which I think is really cool. And then we have the two combatants, which are a night elf holding a sword, and then we also have an orc warrior, I believe, who's also holding a sword. And then, you know, obviously one of them is blue and one of them is red. It's a little bit of like an alliance horde thing going on, I think. But yeah, I think everything just really works well with this loading screen. I love the art, I love the aesthetic, I love the colors, and I just love the vibes. And so I decided, hey, you know what? Let's put it on the list. And that's why the Black Rook Hold Arena loading screen is number 10. 9. Number 9 are the Alterac Valley and Warsong Gulch loading screens. And I picked these because these are probably two of my favorite PvP loading screens just in World of Warcraft. So I couldn't decide on either one, so I decided to just put them together. I mean, I think a lot of people think of these two when they think of old school battlegrounds. I mean, you've got the Warsong Gulch one with this, it almost looks like hand-drawn artwork, which I think is really cool. And you've got the orc who's like, he's got the spit on his teeth. It's like, and he's holding that big dagger, and he's just like getting ready to fight this elf who's just kind of standing there like, oh man, I gotta deal with these orcs. I can't stand them. And I don't know. I always thought it was really cool. Then you got the map in the middle, obviously, and it's just, I think it's really well done. And then you go over to the other side, and it's, you know, a little bit different. On this one, it looks like they're not really fighting each other. It's more like the orc is just like, and he's staring off into the distance. And then you also have the dwarf, who also looks like he's staring off into the distance. I don't know what they're staring at. I like to imagine they're just like on top of a mountain staring out over Alterac Valley, because that's probably what I would do. But I really love the color palette for the Alterac Valley one. You've got the bright golden sun in the background, and then there's the greens and the red and the blues. I don't know. I really like the color choices that they made for the Alterac Valley one. And so either way, that's why the Alterac Valley and Warsong Gulch loading screens are number 9. 8. Number 8 is the Return to Karazhan loading screen. And I really love this loading screen because I think it's a great job of how to reinvent a loading screen and like bring it back. So if we go back to the old Karazhan loading screen, you know, here it is. You know, it's all right. It looks pretty cool. It's got the raven bird there, or crow or whatever. You know, you got some glowing windows down there. You got some like bats there in the clouds. Like, it's all right. But I think what they did here is just so cool, where, you know, they have so many more birds flying around. The beams of light are coming through. The raven crow is like cawing now. And then I think my favorite part is just the green that's radiating and glowing out of all the windows and from Karazhan itself and from the bird. And then it all matches that Legion logo aesthetic. So I really love how they did that. So I think that's a great job of reinventing and maybe even improving upon an old loading screen. And so that's why the Return to Karazhan loading screen is number 8. 7. Number 7 is the Mists of Tyrna Scythe loading screen. And the Mists of Tyrna Scythe is a dungeon in Shadowlands located in Ardenweld. And the first thing that I love about this loading screen is the color palette, right? You have a bunch of browns and oranges and reds, and it's very autumn-esque, right? And it's just, I really love the leaves falling down, and it's interesting because this is Ardenweld, and so this is the part of Ardenweld that's kind of, you know, dead or dying off, and, you know, they're like, oh, it's the ugly part, right? But I think that's what's so cool about this loading screen is it makes the brown kind of dying uglier parts, quotations, of Ardenweld actually look really beautiful and nice, like it is an autumn-esque area. And I think a lot of people just view that part of Ardenweld as the ugly dying area, when this loading screen actually does a great job of showing the beauty of it. I also really love the dream tree going up and intertwining into the sky, and then the stars and the, you know, light kind of shining down. It's just, I really love this loading screen, and so that's why the Mists of Tyrna Scythe loading screen is number 7. 6. Number 6 are the Eye of Azshara loading screen and the Archway loading screen. And I'm kind of cheating again and combining 2 for 1, but listen, this is my pointless top 10. I can do what I want, all right? So first, we have the Eye of Azshara loading screen, which is this giant monster coming up from the water in the background. There's lightning coming down, and there's a ship crash, and the waves are going crazy. It's just really cool. But then I love that there's this little bird just kind of chilling on, you know, the mast of the boat. Is that what this is called? I should know. I made pointless top 10 shipwrecks and learned about ships, but I've forgotten already. But there he is. And then I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny how he's just sitting there like, that's a monster, I guess. And then we go over to the Archway, and I combine them because these are two loading screens with animals kind of in similar locations. So for this one, we have the rat, and the rat has these little stink lines coming off of it. He's like literally radiating smells. And then there's some other rats in the background kind of moving around, but I love that this rat's just up here on this big block of stone like, I smell, what are you gonna do? But yeah, I don't know, I think they're both pretty fun in their own way, and they both got animals, so that's why they're number 6. 5. Number 5 are the Wrath of the Lich King loading screens, specifically the Arthas and Bolvar ones, and I picked these because, well, I think a lot of people remember them just as some of the most iconic loading screens in World of Warcraft. Arthas sitting on his chair, you got Frostmourne stuck there, but even prior to that, there was the issue of Arthas having big potato fingers. A lot of people said he had potato fingers, and so they actually ended up removing those and just making it look like his hand was actually fully closed. So I think it's funny that people made fun of his fingers so much that he's like, I do not have potato fingers, and then they changed it. And then obviously there's the Bolvar, who's just sitting there like, that's just, it became a meme in itself. So how could I not put that on the list? So that's why the Wrath of the Lich King loading screens are number 5. 4. Number 4 are 3 loading screens that I picked because of how they're drawn. And so these all kind of remind me of like a rough draft type of sketch for loading screens. So we have the Zolaman loading screen, the Dead Mines loading screen, and this old-timey cave loading screen. And I think what I love most about all these is what I just said, like the way they're drawn. It gives that kind of sketchbook rough draft vibe. And there's certain times where it's like, whatever. But other times it actually just works really well. Like, I think the Zulaman loading screen just looks great. I think if it was fully fledged out, whatever, like, it would all look all right, but there's just something about it being kind of half drawn in a way, or like kind of sketched, like I said. And then same thing for Dead Mines. It almost gives that vibe of like when they sell books for movies, like animated movies you've seen, and they show all the behind the scenes rough draft artwork and stuff. Like, it almost feels like they're like, hey, you know what? That looks pretty cool. Just make it the loading screen, when they were actually drawing up Dead Mines stuff. And they're like, yeah, it does. And then the actual cave loading screen, I think straight up is just a rough draft thing they put in there. But I think it looks really cool. So that's why I decided to put them at number 4. 3. Number 3 is the old school Onyxia loading screen. And I love this for so many reasons. I mean, the colors are all right. I think it's cool, but what I love most about this is it gives me that old type of D&D RPG party feel, right? Like, there's the party there, and they're getting ready to go slay the dragon. But what I really like is how unfazed Onyxia is. And I don't know if they're actually up on a mountain looking at her, like, up close, but if you just look at Onyxia, she's just kind of sitting there like, I don't care if these adventurers are coming into my lair. Like, they're not going to kill me, right? Like, she almost feels like she's just sitting there like a cat, like, maniacally thinking, like, I don't care, whatever, I'm living my life. And again, this is such a simple loading screen, right? Like, you have this party of adventurers and they're heading out to fight the dragon, and I think it just does a really good job of displaying what old school World of Warcraft was all about. That's what I think I like most about it. So that's why the Onyxia loading screen is number 3. 2. Number 2 is the Battle for Darkshore loading screen. And I just love this loading screen for so many reasons, but mainly it's just the color and the vibes going on, right? You have this green poisonous gas kind of flooding the forest, but you have these night elves just lurking behind a rock and a tree, like getting ready to attack. And then you've got the undead wearing their gas masks and patrolling in, and you can see all the weapons they're bringing into the forest. And you even see there's trees that have been cracked in half, and they're kind of oozing with this green smoke liquid thing. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about this that I think looks really cool. I think it's the color palette of the blue and purple and dark shore vibes, and then you've got the undead coming in with their green poison gas, and the clash of the two races here. You've got the night elves, you've got the undead. They're trying to defend their land. The undead are invading it. And I also love that it's got that glow in the dark type of effect, right? Like, we're in Darkshore, but it's glowing this kind of poisonous green. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. So that's why it's number 2. 1. And number 1 is the classic Kalimdor loading screen. And I just really love this loading screen. Like, you've got the orc, the night elf, the troll, and the Tauren. But one thing that really stands out to me, and has stood out since I first started playing World of Warcraft, is the Tauren doesn't look like a Tauren sometimes. And I didn't even realize it was a Tauren screaming until like not that long ago, like maybe years ago when Classic WoW came out or something, but I always would look at it and it almost looked like a guy wearing a helmet, or like, I don't know what I saw, but it's like one of those Rorschach tests or whatever. It's like, what do you see? And it just, I never really saw a Tauren. And then somebody pointed it out like, oh yeah, there's the Tauren's face. And I was like, wait, hold on, I guess that is a Tauren. But now once you see the Tauren, it's like hard to actually see other things, but you have to like kind of readjust your eyes. Like sometimes I can still see other stuff. I don't know. It's just, it's something that I always thought was really weird, but kind of cool. And so that's why it's always just stood out to me as my favorite loading screen. And that's why it's number one. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more Top 10s, I just uploaded 3+ hours of WoW Animal Fact Top 10s to fall asleep to, or you could check out Coolest Towns, which was the last Pointless Top 10. Also, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite loading screen is. Okay? Okay. See ya.